Welcome to the second edition of the AA podcast. As you know, brought to you by the Rondo Media Group. We have AA back again for this week's Barclays Premier League fixtures. And without further ado, we're going to start off with the game of all games this weekend. At Old Trafford, Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1, Trossard goal. AA, what was your takes on the game, and given Arsenal's victory, is the title in their hands now?
So yeah, that game, I mean, it wasn't the most exciting game in the world. To be honest, it was quite a professional win from Arsenal. You know, they scored early, defended for large parts of the game. Still, I feel like at parts when they were breaking, that they still looked likely to score. But to be honest, United actually, to be fair to them, to be fair to the team that they put out, which was very poor in terms of quality, they managed to put up a game and take the game to them, really. And, you know, Arsenal got through and got the result. And I think just starting off with Arsenal, I think that just shows where they're at now. You know, the fact that they cannot play too well and they can really almost control a game, really, like controlling the game out of possession and almost controlling the game when they're not at their best. They're at that, they've got that ability to now do that because they defend so well as a unit, and it's very impressive to see. It's the stuff of champions. They're really now the polished outfit, and I've said that, you know, for well, I was going to say for many weeks on here, but for a week on here and for many weeks on the Rondo podcast as well. Now United, in terms of United, what do I say about United? United right now are just kind of 100% in their banter era, and listen, they did okay and they actually played pretty well for them.
They turned up for the game.
Yeah, they turned up for the game, but they still lost. And I saw some United fans get excited about it, but I feel like the performance that they put out today is the minimum level for United. It should not be easy to play against United, no matter who you are, across Europe and at Old Trafford as well. But yeah, they're in a place now, despite the fact that they played decently well, because they've got players like Højlund, players like Garnacho that are just a little bit unrefined, as you know, they're not superstar young talents. They're young talents where you're unsure with what you're gonna really get. They were unable to really punish Arsenal, and they've, you know, the lineup that they also put up for the game is just, you know, it's below a United standard, because not only do they have a lot of scrubs in their side, they have the one thing which I say is worse than a scrub: a lot of injury prone scrubs. So
who are you referring to?
The Varans of this world, the Mason Mounts, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
The who else has been largely unavailable this season? Malacia,
Lisandro Martinez,
you know. Lisandro Martinez, to be fair, I don't think is a scrub, but we put him at centre back. I do think he is. I don't think he should be playing centre back for a top side. So yeah, they're in a real difficult place now. I feel like I've gotten to United enough. They did, like I said, turn up a bit. So fair enough to them. Moving on to Arsenal, like I said, a very polished outfit, and a side that, you know, has a very good chance at winning the league. And you say, can they win the league? I think it all depends on what City do against Spurs on Tuesday, which I feel like they probably will do the business, because we know what they do when they're, you know, in the mood in this running. Over to you.
Just want to highlight some performances from the game today. So obviously we had Trossard come in with a clinical goal assisted by Havertz, and Havertz has really turned up during this running. But on the other side, I really feel like Onana kept United in the game with quite a few saves to his left side. And what's your take on his performance for United this season? Has he been a good goalkeeper for them?
I mean, Onana, has he been a good keeper? No, I think he's improved, you know, as of recent. But I think the problem with Onana is that he can be an absolute bum at any moment. So you say, yes, he had, like, for instance, you think he had a good stint before the Palace game, and then against Palace, I thought he was diabolical. I thought that last goal I thought the first goal from Elise, thought he could have done better. I thought there was no pace on the shot. And then the second goal from Elise was an absolute joke. Yes, he made a couple of good saves today, but I don't really feel like... I think Onana's okay. I think he can get you through. I don't think he can win a title with Onana, but where United are back now is they need to just kind of almost just be a stable top four side. They haven't really been able to do that.
Onana's a title winning goalkeeper.
No.
Serie A.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I didn't watch Serie A, throughout that season, but based on what I've seen in the Premier League, I would say they won that in spite of his goalkeeping abilities. Listen, when you're looking at him, yes, he's good with his feet, but his fundamentals with his hands are horrible. In terms of consistency, the handling, the shot stopping is very, very inconsistent. So for me, he can be a keeper that maybe can get you top 4, but if you want to win the title, he's not enough. So for now, yeah, sure, stick it with him. But no, I don't think, I don't really buy into this discourse that Onana's, turned a new leaf. He's turned a new leaf from not being absolutely abysmal. What we were seeing in the Champions League and in a few Premier League games was shocking, disgusting, as in not top half quality, my brother. Now he's just okay. So I think that's where he's at. Did you ask about Havertz as well?
Yeah.
Havertz, I think, like I said, I did a little piece on him last week. I think he's really turned the leaf. He's led the line well for Arsenal. In all honesty, I think he deserves his apology. So I won't go into a lot of detail on him. I said he deserves his apology, so fair enough to him. I think he's just continuing that really. So I'm not surprised by his level of performance. Trossard's an interesting one. For me, absolute super sub. It's not even a super sub now. He's been starting, but I don't think. Listen, I feel like if Martinelli is playing how he should be, he's been a bit off it this season, then he's there starting. But the point about Trossard is he's such a great addition to a squad. I think he's really stepped up. I actually feel like he's Arsenal's best finisher, and it's the type of player that you definitely need. I think Trossard's right up there with the Jotas, with the almost like the old school Solskjaers. He's up there, like he's able to really turn it up in big moments for the team and be a real pivotal player while not perhaps being the level of player that is probably going to be a long-term starter for Arsenal, but he's making a great case. You always want players like him giving you good problems. Over to you.
On the other side of the title race, we had Man City 4, Fulham 0. Good game afternoon kickoff on the Saturday. From what I saw, Man City dominated the game from start to finish. We had 2 goals from Vardio. What's your take on City's run so far since January and them essentially chasing down the Arsenal?
The thing is, we've done a lot on Arsenal, and I think across fan media and football media, because they have been the best team kind of since the turn of the new year. But City as well, since the new year, they've been really good. I feel like I saw a stat. I don't think they've lost since December either. Maybe they're not blowing teams away, but I feel like that's the smart thing about City. They know they've got so many players that are so experienced now in terms of winning titles. They almost know, what's the point of us blowing a team away, and, using too much energy. They just know, we just do enough. So many games with City, even that game on Saturday, them winning 4-0. It's they won 4-0 because Fulham almost just let them. They get 2 or 3 up and they just control the game, and they just toy with you because they're let's not even use our energy. What's the point of the 5-0s, the 6-0s? Let's just save ourselves, get the job done, so we go again. And that's why it is so tough to go head to head with City in the running, because they will be on your neck, and the second you slip, they will be on you. Arsenal have lost 1 game since the new year against Villa, and that's the game that they're going to look back and they're going to think, what did we do, man? And that is what City do to you. City are on you when you draw games, let alone lose games. And yeah, they were very impressive. Moving on to Guardiola, as you said. Listen, Guardiola for me is one of the weirdest ones. With Guardiola, honestly, hats off to him, because I just don't get it. At the start of the season, I remember me and you, we were discussing him. We were saying that we did our disappointments of the season about halfway through. And I think Guardiola was yours. And I fully agreed. Maybe it was yours, maybe it was someone else's when we were on the Rondo podcast. And I fully agreed with it. I thought he looked quite stiff at left back. His 6'2", quite built frame for a footballer. Wasn't looking the best defending, was kind of struggling with tricky wingers. Wasn't really looking the best going forward. Wasn't really doing much. Was unable to really beat a man. Was unable really to have much end product in the final third. All of a sudden now, over the past few months, and especially in this running, he's changed it, looking super solid at the back, attacking, looking really neat on the ball.
Fluid as well.
Fluid, some of the goals. he's got a hell of a right foot on him. I don't know where that's come from. You think about the goal against Madrid. You think about the goal today. The way he went through on that goal today, little 1-2, shifts it on his right foot, spangs it back into the near post. I said, you're a 6'2" centre back, dog, built, and you're moving like that. What a player! He's really turned it, and he's been a great addition for City. But honestly, man, City and Pep, they're just a pack of bastards, aren't they? They're just a pack of bastards, bro. Listen, we got rid of Gundogan, and we thought that we would be good. I'm flipping Guardiola. Is there Gundogan in this running, man? It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what we're gonna do with them. They're such a difficult outfit to deal with because Pep can just use any sort of player to be so decisive. A 6'2" centre back moving like that, man. It's quite sickening if you ask me. But here we are. Over to you.
So still on City. Their next game is against Spurs midweek, who won 2-1 against Burnley this weekend. A lot has been going on in the media about this game. Obviously, Spurs are Arsenal's biggest rivals, and they would not like Arsenal to win the league. Quite a few Spurs fans, Spurs pundits feel like Spurs should throw the game against City. Do you think that's in good repute, and do you think that has a room in football?
Now listen, you can't throw games, but you can put a certain amount of effort within a game. Yeah, you're always you got to play to win. You can't match fix. But listen, if I'm a Spurs fan or a Spurs player, you can't revolve everything around Arsenal. If Liverpool beat Villa tomorrow, if I'm a Spurs fan, I know many of them may not disagree with this because I feel like a lot of Spurs fans are far too fixated on Arsenal. If I'm a Spurs player, I play my heart out against City to try and get top 4 and try and get the Champions League because I want to progress where my club is. No matter whether another club's winning, you got to think you want to have your own goals. Now listen, on the flip side, if Villa lose to, I'm honest, that is my opinion. If Villa if Liverpool beat Villa. If Villa beat Liverpool, or even if they draw, throw the game. Throw the game. No, listen, don't throw the game, but if I'm a Spurs fan, you like, top 4's out of sight. When we had everything on the line and we're playing our greatest rivals, we lose. And then what? We beat City and draw with City, and we hand Arsenal the title. If I'm a Spurs fan, I'm furious. And if I'm a Spurs player, I'm thinking, well, what are you doing, bro? You may as well just play with about 60% energy. City will do the rest.
Just want to intervene quickly. So what did you think about the after the Spurs Burnley game, the Spurs players had done sort of an end of season goodbye to their fans, even though they have another home game against City this weekend. So what's your take on that? Clearly they're looking to the building.
Yeah, that was interesting to see. They did a whole big palaver for it. I was confused. Maybe they know that City are going to give them a spanking, and they just thought, yeah, let's kind of get it in. Or maybe they are thinking what you're sort of alluding to, and they thought, you know what, we're gonna kind of just, almost show our asses in that game. So let's kind of get it in, do all the claps and whatever, because we know that, we don't have much to play for, because they probably maybe think, even if Villa do lose, it's still a tough job for them. So they're just probably thinking, you know what, we're probably gonna City game's probably gonna end up in a loss, so let's all do it. So yeah, that was kind of funny to see, to be honest. Over to you.
Moving on to now mid-table, actually. Crystal Palace.
South London MSN.
Eze and Mateta. Speak to me, brother.
The South London MSN. Wow. They were fantastic. Was it 3 or 4 against Wolves? 3-1. Yeah, 3-1. All 3 scored. Listen, under Glasner as well, if you look at Palace's form over the past few games, it's been ridiculous. Like I don't think they've lost in like their last 5 or 6. Beaten Liverpool and beaten Man United, got some really good results as well. Like honestly, I feel like the shackles have been released on those attacking players, and they're just playing in full form. Honestly, now we call them Elise, Mateta, and Eze, the South London MSN, and all I'm saying is, we said it on the Rondo, I ain't ever seen Eze, Mateta, Elise, Messi, Neymar and Suarez in the same room. That's
You're-
all.
you're-
That's all I'm saying.
You're an idiot.
I ain't never seen them in the same room, bro.
You're an
That's
idiot.
all I'm saying. Have we seen them at the same time? I don't know. You know, you never know. You never know. But no, in all honesty, the way that they're playing is fantastic to see. They're playing with expression, particularly Elise and Eze, of course. You know, they've got a real level of quality to them that they can really, you know, be difference makers at top clubs, right at the top end of the table. They play with a character and a confidence and a suave, which is so nice to see. And it's that character and arrogance to their game which you don't always get at the top level clubs anymore. That I feel like is needed. You know, they just play. They're so good to watch, and they really just ooze quality, man. I love watching them. They're some of the most exciting ballers in Europe, honestly speaking, particularly Elise, sorry. Well, both of them, man. I accidentally said Eze, but I think about what he's done as well. Both of them, man. Fantastic footballers.
How likely do you think is it that Crystal Palace hold on to both Eze and Elise next season?
Not very likely. I think one may leave this summer. I really do. I just think like they're too good. I don't feel like this can be a situation of. I mean, to be fair, Balassi and Zaha both left as almost towards like when they weren't really in their prime. Particularly Zaha, we know that they managed to hold on to him, but I actually feel like Elise and Eze, they remind me a lot of them. I actually feel like they're better, and I actually feel like they have the capability to do better at a top club. And I actually feel like they've reached a higher level at a slightly younger age than both they have. So I honestly feel like for the big clubs, you have got to grab up one, particularly Elise. I feel like there's a release clause in his contract. I hear this keeps on swarming around. If it is, I think 60 million or whatever it is, bite your hand off. I'd bite your hand off for that. So I do think big club, I would be very surprised if those guys stay. And Eze's getting on now. I think he's 26. So honestly, snap him up as well in the next season or so. I don't know if he'll sign a new contract, but I'd say if Elise's got a release clause, I'll be so surprised. I don't think Palace will keep both of them. And I do think one will leave this summer. If they can keep them, fair enough, because it's great to see kind of mid-table ballers at that level. But I would like to see one go. I would hate for both to stay. I think that's a bit of a waste of the talent. Sorry to Palace fans. You know, I don't live too far from the stadium. You know, that was kind of my little local team. But I've got to be honest, you want to see that type of quality towards the top half of the league.
That's what you're saying, at least it's Liverpool.
Oh, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. Start celebrating your goals though. You're not gonna come to Anfield and score some of the screamers you do and do all that nonchalant vibe. I ain't hearing that. So, but yeah, no, I would love him at Anfield, honestly. But I haven't really seen heavy links from Liverpool. I've heard more, bit of Chelsea, bit of City, bit of Man United recently. So haven't really heard much from us. But you think about the fact that Salah's aging, should probably be looking like a player of his quality to potentially slip into that right wing spot. But I hear that the setup at Liverpool prefer Kudus and have looked a little bit into him. So I've heard nothing in terms of Liverpool and Elise.
So Burnley confirmed relegated this season, and after the West Ham victory against Luton, it's pretty much done. Although mathematically they can still stay up this season, it's really looking Luton.
Okay.
It's really looking unlikely for them. 3 teams up from the Championship, same 3 teams back down. Why do you think that's because of?
Because they're rubbish. Is the short answer, particularly Burnley and Sheffield. Now, I did a little piece on Burnley last week because I thought it was all but done for them. They're now officially relegated. Sheffield, you know, the less said about them, the better. Those two have been, they've just been rubbish. You know, Sheffield just kind of rubbish all across the board. Burnley, I honestly feel like their coaching was the biggest factor in them being quite poor. Listen, Luton, they've been a great outfit, you know, in terms of the story, in terms of the way that they've tried to play. And I have a lot more respect for them than the other two. But at the end of the day, you look at some of the Luton players, they're just not Premier League quality. It's It's been unfortunate, but listen, the three that have come up, thank you, like I said, bar the exception of Luton, for nothing. I think this is when teams get relegated, you sometimes feel a bit sad, you feel a little bit of something. I feel absolutely nothing. The three teams that have come up, you need to go straight back down and don't really come back for a couple of years. Sort yourselves out, get patterned up, because the levels that you come in, this is the Premier League. I've told you, some of the games I'm watching Sheffield and Burnley, I'm looking at them and thinking, this is the Premier League. Sort yourselves out. Sort yourselves out. Like, some of those Sheffield, it's disgusting. They need to go down to the Championship, sort themselves out, rethink, maybe come back in a couple of years, man. So, like I'm saying, move on. I really don't feel much. I think that's great.
Just on that quickly, are you excited to see Leicester and Ipswich in the Premier League next season?
Very much so. So, I just spoke about how I felt nothing to see those three go. I was very sad to see Leicester go last season. I feel like Leicester have been a great part of the Premier League for a long while. A lot of their players I liked as well, which, a lot of them ended up getting picked off by Premier League clubs. So I think it'll be great to have Leicester back. They've got a new coach who's playing quite some exciting football. So, yeah, I think they'll be a great addition. So I'm very happy to have them come back instead of the likes that have gone down. And Ipswich, I've only seen a couple clips and I've watched one Ipswich game as well. But they play great football. And, Ipswich are a team that I think they're a good team, Ipswich. They've got a good fan base. They've been in the Premier League before, haven't they? Like a while back. Yeah, a while back. So it's good to have them back. It's always good to have those teams that, had little stints in the Premier League and it didn't work out, work hard, that they've got good fan bases and then come back again. So it's almost like, it's nice to see Ipswich come back into things yet again. So yeah, I think it's great to get Ipswich back into things. So yeah, I think it's good.
Hate to put you on the spot here, but the nominees for manager of the season are Michael Arteta, Unai Emery, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, and lastly, what's this manager's name?
Bro didn't come prepared.
No.
Oh, I know, the Bournemouth manager, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know his name though.
Look, we can't remember his name. Great stuff, innit?
Great stuff from two guys that have a football media company.
Exactly. But
do forgive us.
all in all, what is your choice for the PFA manager of the season?
So the thing is, you think about Pep, who won it last year, he won a treble, right? And even though he is going to get a 4-peat, which is an amazing feat, by the way.
Oh, he's going to get it.
Who?
He's going to get a 4-peat.
Yeah, he might. Oh, I think it's likely. We'll see. I just think it's a bit boring to give it to Pep, I would say. But if he does get a 4-peat, then that is mad. If Pep gets it, I don't mind. And if it's weird though, because I think that they're gonna announce the winners before we find out who's won the league. So I think, depending on if Arteta or Pep win the league, then I wouldn't be, unhappy with either of them to win it. But my favourite, if you talk about my personal favourite, would be Unai Emery. If he gets I think he's going to get Champions League with Aston Villa, and I think that's just amazing. And I also just feel like when you look at the progression from where he came with Aston Villa to where they are now, I think that's the best story for me. I know he has spent a fair bit of money, but I just still think to instill that mentality to continue to churn on into a bunch of players that aren't really used to that level is honestly amazing. So for me, it would be him. Second would be Arteta if he won the league, because I think that would be amazing as well. Again, I really like transformative jobs. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a Liverpool fan, maybe it's because I just like to see like a manager be real pivotal to a project. But I think those three, any of them could win it. It will probably go towards Pep or Arteta, to be honest though.
Next, we have the PFA Player of the Season. Nominees are Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, Declan Rice, Virgil van Dijk, Ollie Watkins, and Isaac. Who's your pick for the PFA Player of the Season?
So my PFA Player of the Season would be Phil Foden. PFA and Premier League Player of the Season, yeah, both of them. It would be Phil Foden. Now listen, I do feel like the way that it's unanimously, like everyone is just like, oh, Foden's won it by a landslide is a bit of a stretch. I also just feel like Foden gets a bit of, like, before I'm going to give Foden credit, unfortunately I do need to shit on him a little bit because I just think that he gets a bit of, well, not shit, this is not shit, but I just need to get onto him a little bit. Because I do feel like Foden gets like unbelievably nice PR. And I also feel like he's had it a bit too good, man. You know, Phil Foden is like he's a silver spoon footballer. Comes into a star-studded squad.
How has this become a Foden?
I've got to get the engineer. Comes into a star-studded squad. He doesn't even do a top loan. Where's the Bolton loan? Where's the loan to Sunderland to really earn your stripes and get into the team? Gets rotated nicely into the team, and now like as those older guys in the City team who have helped him towards title, instilled the mentality as they've got older, he's just nicely come into it, you know, being the best player in that team. And he just got such amazing PR behind him as well. Like, nobody ever gets onto him when he has a bad game. So he's just annoying. Like, he does annoy me a bit. The PR he gets annoys me a bit. But he does deserve it, to be honest, I think. Because I think in terms of, like, performances that have had me the most locked in this season, it's been Phil Foden. Listen, he could have done a little bit better against like the top 3 clubs, but on the whole, you think about the hat tricks, you think about the fact that he's been City's best player, who I fancy to win the title. You do have to give it to Foden. So, you know, fair enough to him. I think he is going to get it as well because I just think the PR behind him, but he's had a top season and he's been the one that's really turned up for City this year.
And young player?
Cole Palmer, without a shadow of a doubt. Cole Palmer has a shot at winning the Premier League Player of the Season. I told you last week, if it wasn't for the fact that Chelsea was so rubbed out, he could
keep it so in Chelsea. Yes.
he definitely could have, but without a shadow of a doubt, he has to win both Young Player Awards. He has been amazing. I think he's on 31 goals contributions right now.
40 goal contributions in all competitions.
Absolutely ridiculous numbers. I could go on about Cole Palmer all day, but I've done a lot on him already. So we'll move on, but he has to win it. Nobody's competing with him. Nobody's touching with him. I was even saying that, like I said last week, like he could be, it would be one of the most impressive young players, young PFAs that we've seen in a long while. Like those goal contributions, some of the performances, some of the highlight reels. What a baller, man! What a baller! And he's leading the leaderboard in Europe, as we said last week. So,
and this question is not Premier League related, but you've shared some of your views on this in the past, and I just want to get your views on camera. Who is most likely to win Ballon d'Or this season? This is before the Euros.
So before the Euros, I mean, I've heard,
and why is it Bellingham?
I've heard that it's tipped towards Vinicius, which I think he's the one that would deserve it if Madrid go and, you know, win the Champions League, because I feel like he's the one that's really turned up for Madrid in the decisive moments coming up to these knockout ties. No, he's not been. He had like a bit of an injury, so, you know, across La Liga it's been more Bellingham. But listen, Vinicius is the best player at Madrid. All of this Bellingham hype, I think Bellingham's a great player, a fantastic player actually, a world-class player I would say. Or okay, maybe he's not bona fide world-class yet, but he's shown world-class levels this season, and he will be a world-class player. But the way people go on about Bellingham, I mean, he's another one. Listen, I love the kid. English-born player, you know, English player, you know, a big, you know, a big player for England. But that's just the way people go on about Bellingham as if he's generational, as if he's, you know, a player that can, you know, just turn a game in an instant. It's just not true. He's a very top functional player, but he's not a crazy level raiser. For me, for that type of player to get the Ballon d'Or, it's just a bit like, I just can't condone it. Vinicius is the best player at Madrid. Stop it with all the Bellingham hype. I'm just not hearing it, man. If he gets the Ballon d'Or, it's just not right. Give it to Vinicius. But give him a good ranking within the Ballon d'Or rankings, but I'm not trying to hear Bellingham for Ballon d'Or. I'm sorry, innit? I can't get, but as much as I'd like to, with Bellingham, right? Yeah, you know, he's got kind of all the things that you want to like him a lot. You know, English born as well. You know, he speaks well. You know, he just seems like a well brought up good guy. But you know, I just feel like the PR's a little bit over the top. So when I'm judging it purely on football, I don't think he's on the levels that some people suggest.
And that is all for today on the AA podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please tune in, like, comment, subscribe. Any last words from you, AA?
Please like, comment, subscribe. We love you all as part of the Rondo family. See you again next week.